A little bit later than I initially intended to be recording a vlog, but I wasn't going to let it beat me. It's definitely going to get done because we've got stuff to talk about. So it's almost 4 o'clock Friday afternoon, and I'm just exporting and uploading the video for the week. I don't know how I feel about the video for the week. It kind of carries on in the vein of last week because last weekend I wasn't too sure what I was going to be making a video about. You know, I go week to week. I don't have this great big content board made out. I go week to week. And I wasn't too certain about what I was going to make a video about. And then, of course, I had the invite land for the Apple event. So I changed everything. I thought I'd do another walking around London with the iPhone 17e, recording at the event. And it kind of made for a natural video. So it's rough. Now, look, make sure you hear this straight. I'm not comparing myself with the great and one and only Casey. But you know, some of his videos aren't particularly pretty. They're a little bit chaotic and they're choppy. I think you can fairly say this one's choppy. I start off in the studio at home that you've seen. Then you see me in Battersea with the power station behind me across the Thames. Then you see me in Battersea Power Station, the sort of shopping area talking. Then at night when I look absolutely, it was horrible on Wednesday. So that's the video. I've called it iPhone 17e in London at Apple's 50th celebration, and that's kind of what the thumbnail says as well. So we shall see how it goes. Now let's talk. We haven't really spoken about the event itself because I recorded something at the event. In fact, that bit when I recorded that vlog for you with the power station behind me, that's the clip. I was at the same spot. I recorded a bit for the main video as well. So I like to be honest with you on these vlogs. The day felt a little bit wasted. I'm not going to lie. Now, although I've been at this for 4 and a bit years, I'm still wet behind ears because it's the first time I've been invited to an Apple event. So there's somebody that I know got in touch and said, "Are you going to the event on another journalist? Are you going to the event on Wednesday?" I said, "No, I haven't got an invite." So he kind of gave me the contact details of the person to get in touch with, and within an hour, I got an email back from another lady there, and it was, "Can you attend?" Yes. Then it was, "Right, you're on the list, the do's and don'ts," and then the following day, that's when I got the e-ticket through. The other person that sent me the original, or put me in touch with them, I said to him, "Do you know what's happening? Is there a hands-on?" I think he had a better invite than me. I think he was on a higher tier. I'm sure he was indoors for a bit of it. I wasn't. I don't know if he had any hands-on or not. I haven't spoken to him since. But I was expecting something different. I was hoping to meet the PR people, which I didn't. Now, I was just outside. The queue was started from about 3:30. It was very, very well organised. But my pass was clearly just for the outdoor part. So I got in at about 6, just before 6. And it went through until 8:30. It was 5 degrees. It was freezing. And that's all it was. There was just an hour set with a DJ up on the roof. She couldn't have looked any more miserable. And then there was an hour with Mumford & Sons, or as I called them on a reel on Instagram this week, Mumford & Co. Totally not my music. Being a rare groove soul boy, totally not my music. But I will give them the credit that they were entertaining, and they too were bloody freezing. Even they sort of said, "Who puts on a gig in March outdoors?" It was crazy. If you were with somebody, somebody could have kept my spot. I could have gone and got some food and drink. But because I was by myself, if I'd moved, I would have gone. And it was sardines. It was just shoulder to shoulder. I'm guessing there was a couple of thousand people there. Clearly Mumford fans, because they were all singing along. I didn't know any of their music. They were clearly all singing along with their tracks. They're a very popular band. I didn't realise they were even British. So I stayed right through until the end of the gig because I thought, well, maybe they'll say, when I got there, my yellow wristband, which I'll put over, hold on, I'll show my yellow wristband. You wait. One yellow wristband. When I was given my yellow wristband, I was kind of whisked through. So I kind of thought, well, maybe that means I've got some sort of tier of, I think my friend has a slightly better pass, maybe I had a decent pass. So I thought I'd stay to the end and see if they say, right, anyone with yellow and above, you invited in. Because one of the Apple employees that I spoke to out on the terrace that afternoon, there was Apple employees listed everywhere as the afternoon began to roll on, directing people to where they needed to go. One of them said, yeah, I think there is a reception. So I thought I'd wait until the end of the gig to hear if they said, right, yellow above, you can come indoors. There was nothing. It was literally end of the gig, lights out. I'm sure they were limited by it being a sort of a semi-resi area, so they had to cut the noise at 8:30. And that was it. I didn't meet anybody. I have since sent an email to those two people independently, asking if I can be put on the list for future events, such as WWDC that's been announced for June, the iPhone event later in the year, and if I can get review units. I thought I could pussyfoot about and delay writing that email, but let's face it, that's what I want, that's what I need, so there's no point delaying the obvious. So I've sent the emails now, and I haven't heard back from either. I sent one yesterday and one today. I haven't heard anything back at all from them. So I don't know what to make of it. It just felt like an epic waste of a day. The car park ended up costing me £30. So by the time I'd eaten, parked, and had a couple of cups of coffee, it's a 50 quid day. And I don't know what I got out of it, to be honest with you. At the end of the gig, I was, as I say, frozen. Fingers were white, toes were frozen, because I was literally just standing still for 2.5 hours. So then I started to quite literally run around town to get the two shots. If you've seen Insta, you would have seen them both at Battersea Power Station with different angles. But I was running just to get warm as much as anything. One thing I will give myself credit for from the photos, I think there were two cracking photos, and it's not that I've got a great set of glass or lenses to take, but I knew that that shot needed a lens that would let in as much light as possible, so I took my 24mm that goes down to an f1.4. I knew it let in a lot of light, so I wouldn't get too much noise on the shots. I took a tripod because I knew I wanted to do some long exposure shots. I was down to about a quarter of a second, really long exposure on one of the shots. So at least I've learned on that. But as for the Apple event, I don't know. I really don't know where it stands or if I got anything out of it or what the follow-up's going to be. I haven't heard back from Tim. So yeah, it's been a weird week. Everything seemed to... It has been more encouraging, for sure. So Hollyland, the person I originally was dealing with has dried up. I've sent a couple of emails this week saying, right, with the new quarter, new financial year, how your budget's looking. Budgets do seem to be making a difference. That one still hasn't got back to me. The other one I was dealing with last week, we fell apart on money that we were nowhere near realistically. But she's kind of keen. She suggested to me, I think it's called the MPTS show. So it's like a media, audio and visual show at Olympia in May. She said you're going to be there. So I said, well, I'll try and get a press pass, which has come through already today. So I've got that done. I've also applied for a press pass for the podcast show in Islington in May. I did go to that a few years ago. Haven't been to it since, but I just think these audio people are going to... Hollyland will probably be at both of those. So will Road. More often I can get in front of these people, the better. So, and I haven't heard back from Canon when I met them at the camera show a couple of weeks ago either. But I do feel generally things are a bit more encouraging. The story's gone up for Clean My Mac today, so that's gone on to Substack, that's gone on to my website. I'm waiting to see if Mac O'Clock will publish it or not. It's thin ground because it quite clearly is a paid-for story. But even if they don't do it, I'll put it on my own Medium page. So I've had one boost out of Medium this year, so I don't mind not being boosted because it's paying me anyway. So what with that, espresso displays have come through. But see, I'm waiting before ordering the MacBook Neo for them and our video to see if I can get a review unit. I can't leave it long. I'm going to have to order it soon. There was a 2-week delay on it. I think it's due to land sort of mid-April at the moment. And I'm going to do a trade. I'm going to trade in my M3 MacBook Air because it means I'm getting the Neo for, I don't know, £300 or something. So it kind of seems like a decent deal to me. And I don't use the MacBook Air. And to be honest, if I've got a small portable laptop, it doesn't matter if it's a Neo or an Air. But obviously with the Neo, it's more current. My battery's running out, so I'm going to have to stop now because my lights are flashing. I don't want to start all over again. I think I've said everything I needed to say. It's my birthday on Sunday. Not the big one, the one before the big one. But anyway, thank you for this week. Sorry to rush it at the end. 10 minutes, it's okay, but the light's flashing. I don't want to cut it off. I will speak to you on Monday, but I think we got through all the main points that we needed to cover. Have a great weekend, and I'll catch you next week. And thank you, Josh. I met at the channel, at this show the other day, and I've had a new subscriber that's joined in today as well. I've forgotten your name, but thank you very much indeed for joining the gang. It's great to see you here. I'll speak to you next week.